Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
An Ohio gubernatorial candidate is receiving major backlash after he posted about some of his sexual encounters on Facebook. Good evening, I'm Josh Gregory, and thanks for joining us. Ohio Supreme Court Justice and gubernatorial candidate Bill O'Neill is under fire after minimizing sexual assault allegations in a Facebook post this morning. In the post, he said he was speaking on behalf of all heterosexual men and was disappointed that so much attention is being paid to sexual indiscretions decades ago. O'Neill also claimed he has been sexually intimate with 50, quote, very attractive females, and described his first and last encounters. 3 fellow Democratic candidates said O'Neill should step down. Dayton Mayor Nan Whaley, former state representative Connie Pillich, and state senator Joe Schiavone.
Resign from what?
From the bench.
Absolutely not. We don't have robots on the bench. We have real people. And what my post demonstrates is I'm a real person. And I think it is time that we get back to the due process of law, which is what I enforce on a daily basis.
Ohio Democratic Party Chairman David Pepper tweeted that O'Neill's comments dehumanize women and trivialize harassment and abuse. O'Neill's campaign manager, Chris Clevenger, resigned this morning following the post. Nearly 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer, but mammograms aren't as accessible as the statistic would suggest. WOUB's Marianne Dodson shows us how Southeast Ohio is trying to change that.
For the past 24 years, Laura Townley has traveled from Nelsonville to Athens to get her annual mammogram. But for this year's checkup, her travel time decreased significantly.
They said, well, come on out. We're going to go outside. And I said, outside?
Stationed right outside the Nelsonville Health Center, the mobile mammography unit is providing a new way to receive a mammogram.
They took me out to the mobile unit and walked up the stairs and in it, and it was like in and out in no time.
Through both private and public funds, the mobile truck was able to get revved up this fall.
We are stationed here in Nelsonville 2 days a week, but on the other 3 days, we go and do community outreach in surrounding counties to Athens County.
Kelly Jarrett is a technician on the truck, which is specifically designed to visit underserved rural areas.
I like it a lot better being actually on this than in a hospital because we're reaching people that don't come to the hospital.
Townley has been able to make the drive, but she knows that others in the area don't have that luxury.
People don't have vehicles, especially in southeastern Ohio. It's a struggle for them just to go get their daily groceries.
The mobile unit hits home for Townley, who has seen what can happen when resources aren't available. I
lost a sister-in-law, an ex-sister-in-law, to breast cancer. She didn't have the resources, and I would think if they set up clinics or something using the mobile, they might detect somebody like her, maybe save their lives.
Breast cancer is the second most prominent type of cancer in Ohio, but Jarrett knows that breast health isn't always a top priority for women.
We are more apt to take care of our family, our spouses, our careers than we are to take care of ourselves, and we know that a lot of women don't get the screenings they need.
Almost 75% of women who have breast cancer have no family history of the disease. A lack of obvious symptoms makes getting a mammogram all the more important to finding out if you're at risk. Mammograms have helped reduce breast cancer mortality in the U.S. by nearly 40% since 1990, according to Mammography Saves Lives. But in Southeast Ohio, options for accessible mammography care are limited.
And we've had patients when we do our community outreach that haven't had mammograms in 5 or 10 years that we're reaching, and they have been just so ecstatic.
Townley says she plans on using the truck again. Not only is it close to home, but it's much easier to navigate than the hospitals that she's used to.
I had something done in Oblenus, and I got lost in there. I was like, how do I find my way out now?
Thanks to mobile mammography, finding her way out just got a whole lot easier. I'm Marianne Dodson, reporting.
The unit rotates traveling to different cities in Southeast Ohio, but has a base camp in Nelsonville. Any person interested in scheduling an appointment can contact the Nelsonville Ohio Health Center directly. The Ohio University Police Department sent out 2 crime alerts today. The first alert was sent out after a female student reported she was groped by an unknown male while she was standing in front of the graffiti wall on West Mulberry Street. The suspect assaulted the victim, after which the victim shoved him away. The suspect fled on foot toward Baker Center. Another female student reported that 3 males approached her while walking down the Bryan Hall steps and yelled a homophobic slur at her. A suspect then threw something at her, striking her in the face and causing a laceration. The 3 males then ran away. Both cases are still under investigation. If you have any information pertinent to this, please contact OU Police. Athens County Commissioners unanimously approved an agreement yesterday to complete the design of a sanitary sewer project along Route 50. The city will be working with HDR Engineering. County Commissioner Lenny Eliasson said the sewer project was first proposed 20 years ago, but its potential usefulness has allowed development to move forward now.
So we've had a couple of sewer projects in the interim before we got back to this one. The feasibility studies have been reintroduced a couple different times. It's just a matter of timing for funding and looking at the project evaluation and the need for the project.
Construction is set to begin in spring of 2020. A Gloucester man has been found guilty of killing an osprey in violation of the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. 37-year-old Rick Kesterson has been placed on 2 years probation and ordered to do 52 hours of community service at Burr Oak State Park. He was also ordered to pay $500 in restitution to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and forfeit his hunting license. Kesterson pleaded no contest to the charges in court this week.
We had a beautiful day today for November as the temperatures were a little chilly to start out this morning, but we actually warmed up quite nicely, up to around 50 degrees. Currently we're sitting at 46 degrees, so we've cooled off a little bit, but as we go into later tonight, the temperatures actually won't change all that much. So currently 46 degrees, our winds are out of the southeast at 6 miles per hour, and our dew point's at 31 degrees, so it's actually fairly dry right now. But as we go to our region right now, we're pretty much the same about everywhere. 50 degrees in Ironton, 48 in Jackson, 46 in Marietta, 43 in Cambridge, and our cool spot right now is in New Martinsville at 43 along the Ohio River. And as we look at tournament football for tonight, it is 46 degrees, increasing clouds. The temperatures are going to stay pretty steady, so a light jacket, maybe some gloves if you get a little cool out there. But other than that, it's actually going to stay pretty nice throughout the rest of the evening, and our winds are going to be light from the southeast, from 0 to 5 miles per hour. All right, Josh, I don't know about you, but that forecast looks pretty nice for football.
Yeah, glad to see there's not a whole lot of wind speeds going on and not a whole lot of cool temperatures. It should be great. Thanks, Grant. Ohio State University is suspending activities by all fraternities because of numerous investigations. Yesterday, the university suspended social, recruitment, and new member activities for the 37 members of the Interfraternity Council. 11 chapters are under investigation since the beginning of the school year, most allegations involving hazing and alcohol. This is the highest number of investigations in recent years, and Ohio State said it does not tolerate behavior that puts students' health and safety at risk. Kentucky officials say a bus manufacturer plans to create new full-time jobs by operating a part production operation in Bullitt County. New Flyer of America Incorporated intends to invest $40 million to lease and upgrade a facility in Shepherdsville. Officials say the company expects to begin work on the project this month and to be in full operation by the end of 2019. The operation would create up to 550 new jobs. Roy Moore's wife spoke out today to defend her husband. And nearly a year after the Dakota Access Pipeline protest, there was an oil spill from a different pipeline yesterday. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students. My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Alabama senatorial candidate Roy Moore's wife is taking a firm stand on his position in the race. He will not step down. At a Women for More rally today, Kayla Moore declared the same people who were against President Donald Trump are against the Moores now, and urges her husband's supporters to consider the source of these attacks. She said, despite recent allegations of sexual assault, Roy says he is a Christian man fighting for the rights of Alabama citizens.
The people of Alabama know him. They have seen what he has done, fighting for life, fighting against abortion, fighting for the acknowledgement of God, fighting for traditional marriage, and fighting to protect the Second Amendment, and fighting for our rights given by God, protected by our Constitution.
Crews are working to clean up at least 210,000 gallons of oil that leaked out of the Keystone Pipeline. TransCanada shut its massive pipeline down yesterday morning when a drop in pressure was detected. Technicians found the leak on a section of the pipe that runs through rural South Dakota. Officials enacted an emergency response plan to get more staff on site to help clean the spill. There have been no reports of oil entering waterways. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources anticipates the cleanup will take some time. The Federal Communications Commission weakened rules that support local media outlets on Thursday. The decision makes it easier for companies to own multiple TV stations in one market and coordinate operations with other stations. Newspaper and broadcasting industries are saying they need the change in order to keep up with growing competition from cable companies. The previous ban had been in existence since 1975. Opposition group Free Press said they would challenge the rule changes in court. The highest-ranking officer involved in the arrest and death of Freddie Gray has been acquitted on administrative charges. Baltimore Police Lieutenant Brian Rice was found not guilty of 10 charges related to negligence. Gray died a week after suffering a severe spinal injury, and falling into a coma after his 2015 arrest. Authorities suspended Rice's police powers in 2016 and assigned him to administrative duties. Officials reinstated his police powers after today's ruling. A workshop at Ohio University is helping people understand bias in the workplace. That story's still ahead.
We're going to have a rookie forecast over the weekend, and could we see some early signs of winter, and also have your extended forecast next. But here's a look at stocks of local interest.
professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like we're having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Grant Denman. We have that 46 degrees right now, actually fairly nice compared to where we have been here lately in November. But our winds are at the southeast at 6 miles per hour, so those winds are actually kind of helping the temperature stay a little steady right now. And our dew point's at 31 degrees, humidity at 50%, so it's fairly dry right now, but that is about to change as we go forward into the weekend. And as we look at our high today, we hit 50 degrees. 54 degrees was our normal high for today. 79 was that record high set back in 1958. But our low today compared to our normal, pretty much spot on, but our record low, 13 degrees, set back in 1933. That's actually going to feel kind of cold, but it's going to feel kind of normal come Sunday with the winds that we're going to have. So for tonight, we're going to hit 40 degrees here in Athens, 41 in New Lexington, 38 is the cold spot up in Newark, 40 degrees in Columbus, and 43 in Jackson, 45 down in Ironton, and we're going to hit 43 over in Ripley. So as we move through the night, like I said, the temperatures are actually going to stay pretty nice. So we're hit 45 by 8 p.m., no change by 12, and it's going to be 48 by 4 a.m. with the chance of rain increasing by the time we get to the morning hours. So those clouds will gradually increase as we go through the evening and the overnight. And as we look at the precip tonight, you can see why those clouds are going to increase. We have this strong low pressure system that's going to continue to push through the area. We have that warm front, which is actually going to push in the warmer temperatures through tonight and into tomorrow. So it's going to be fairly nice as we go through the day tomorrow. But this cold front is going to be the next part that's going to come through and make things drastically different as we go towards the second half of the weekend. So this rain will begin to push through, the winds will begin to increase, and as that cold front pushes through, the winds are going to be strong coming out of the northwest. And that's when we get a chance for some snow showers and lake effect snow. But as we go tomorrow, like I said, 61 here in Athens. We're going to hit 59 in New Lexington, 57 in Newark, and 65, believe it or not, down in Ironton. So 70 degrees almost for the month of November. Hard to believe, but it's about to change fairly quickly. So tomorrow, 8 a.m., 50 degrees, 80% chance of rain. As we go through the day tomorrow, that wind's going to increase. So it's going to be very blustery. Don't even bother with the umbrellas because they're just going to get blown all over the place. So have a poncho if that can even keep you dry with the winds that we're going to have. But tomorrow, 61, rainy and gusty winds. And as we look at our 7-day forecast, like I said, big changes on the way for the second half of the weekend. 37 degrees and a chance of a rain-snow mix from the lake effect snow, chances coming off the lakes, and 45 by Monday. But if we look further into next week, If we look further into next week, we're going to hit 54 by Tuesday. Our Thanksgiving, 46. So thankfully that's going to be dry. And Josh, all that weather is going to get out of the way by early next week.
Thanks, Grant. Aspiring professionals at Ohio University discussed ways to deal with bias in the workplace and everyday life yesterday evening. WOUB's Abby Grisey attended the event.
Implicit bias, that knee-jerk gut reaction we have to pretty much everything around us. They're the attitudes and stereotypes that frame how we see the world. A group of students at Ohio University is examining this. The Black Student Union, in partnership with the Black Student Communication Caucus, held an implicit bias workshop where they took the Harvard Online Implicit Association test and then had a discussion afterward. Questions were brought up such as, is it possible to change these implicit biases? And should you even try if you're not showing them externally? BSCC President Ayanna Morgan says the conversation was productive for the most part.
I think that people really want to talk about their biases, and they really want to try to confront them. Some do and some don't. Some think that there's nothing wrong with theirs, but everyone has their own opinion, so I think that it went well.
Overall statistics from the test show 27% of respondents show a strong automatic preference for white people compared to black people, while just 2% show a strong automatic preference for black people compared to white people. So, why is it that a minority group, one that has to deal with other people's biases toward them on a daily basis, is taking the time to have these difficult conversations, while other groups made up of the majority oftentimes do not?
People are comfortable. I think for me being a minority student, I'm already uncomfortable. So why not just learn? But I feel like you have to be uncomfortable in order to understand what somebody else is going through.
It affects us, so minority groups want to talk about things like this, but the people that should be in the room aren't.
Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Abby Grisey.
The implicit association test is sometimes given in classes, but it is less common for other groups to have workshops like last night's. Now let's throw it over to Rachel Cherry with a look at today's sports.
2 Ohio teams travel east for tournaments this weekend. Plus, tonight is Gridiron Glory's final episode this season. What teams will be playing tonight and the finalists for Coach of the Year and Player of the Year next on Newswatch. And stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Hey, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like we're having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, this is it. And she said, the tour's just started. I said, no, you don't understand. This is it.
Welcome back, I'm Rachel Cherry. The Ohio men's basketball team is at the Gildan Charleston Classic this weekend. Last night, the team lost to Clemson 81-76. The Bobcats were unable to rally back from a 16-point deficit. In the second half, however, Ohio's Gavin Block led the team with a career high of 22 points. It was Block's first career double-double. Ohio will take on Dayton in just a couple of minutes at 7 p.m. The last time the two teams played against each other was back in 1965. Ohio wrestling is also getting ready for a tournament on the East Coast. The Bobcats are wrestling in the Navy Classic tomorrow. Ohio ranks third in the MAC's November team rankings. 5 Ohio wrestlers are also ranked in the top 4 in their respective weight classes, with Austin Reese taking first at 165. Now, Ohio volleyball is currently in the MAC championships. They won their first 2 sets. However, Eastern Michigan came back in the last set, and right now it's a close 4th set. If Ohio wins this set, they will continue on to the MAC championship finals. While the Ohio field hockey team season is over, the team already has a new coach. Allie Johnstone is filling the head coach position. Johnstone played for Ohio and graduated in 2002 and is also a part of the Kermit Blosser Ohio Athletics Hall of Fame. She joins Ohio after coaching 6 years at Northwestern. Now tonight, Gridiron Glory is having its final episode, and it will be jam-packed. An hour-long show including playoff coverage, Coach of the Year, and Player of the Year. We are covering 4 teams tonight for playoffs. First, we have Nelsonville York versus Cole Grove, Philo versus John Glenn 2. That is for a Division 6 23 final. The Philo Electrics will go against John Glenn, the Little Muskies. For the Division 4 Regions 15 final. The 2 teams already went against each other this season, and Philo won. Last week, Tri-Valley eliminated the top seed, Bell Fountain. Tonight, the Scotties will be up against Bishop Hartley. That is wrong. We also have Coach of the Year that will be decided tonight. We have Rusty Richards, Evan Gallagher, Matt Edwards, Ron Hinton, and Eric McCutcheon. So stay tuned for those 2. We also have Player of the Year, which we will have live interviews of all the candidates: Garrett Maiden, Brandon Belleville, Brandon Maher, Blake McCoy, and Andrew Newsom. And that's it for sports. Make sure you tune in tonight at 11:30 for the Gridiron the finale. And you can also follow along for all the games at #GridGlory on Twitter. Back to you, Josh.
Thanks, Rachel. What started as a woodworking project for one Seattle man turned into a community effort that created something magical. Take a look at this. Jonathan Chambers built a life-sized version of Harry Potter's Diagon Alley in his driveway. Thousands have visited the makeshift Wizarding World, and Chambers is using the project's popularity to raise funds for local schools in pancreatic cancer research. He completed the project in just 17 days, and no, he didn't use magic.
Like I said earlier tonight, it's going to be 40 degrees. It's going to be actually fairly nice compared to what we've been used to for this time of year. Increasing clouds, that rain will be arriving late. The winds will be from the southeast from 5 to 10 miles per hour. So we'll have that rain chances close to about 4 or 5 a.m. So it's not going to be too bad. And as we go through tomorrow, 61 degrees, rainy and gusty, 37, cooling down quickly actually tomorrow with the gusty winds, 39 for Sunday. Josh, that forecast is looking pretty crappy this weekend.
Thanks for watching. I'm Josh Gregory. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. Remember, you can find the latest on WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Buddy, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.